Imagine doing everything right. You skip the expensive phone. You don't gamble on crypto trends. You save 20% of your income. You keep your money in the bank. And somehow, 5 years later, you can afford less than before. Same discipline, same habits, same effort. But your money feels smaller. Not because you failed, because the system changed around you. And that raises an uncomfortable question. What if losing money slowly is actually normal? Right now, millions of people are experiencing something that feels personal, but isn't. Groceries cost more, rent keeps rising, healthcare gets heavier, education moves further out of reach, yet salaries rarely keep up. And the strange part, even when inflation goes down, prices usually don't. They just rise more slowly. It's like being told the fire is under control while the house is still burning. So what's actually happening? To understand this, we need to talk about a quiet rule of modern money. Your cash is designed to lose value over time, not accidentally, on purpose. Let's simplify this. Imagine you have $10,000 saved. You worked for it. You didn't waste it. You did exactly what financial advice says you're supposed to do. Now imagine inflation averages 3% per year. That doesn't mean you lose money from your account. Your balance still says $10,000. But what that money can buy quietly shrinks. After 1 year, your purchasing power drops to about $9,700. After 5 years, about $8,600. After 10, closer to $7,400. You didn't touch the money, but time did. Inflation is often described as rising prices, but another way to see it is this. Inflation is the slow erosion of stored work, because money is just stored labor, stored time, stored effort, and inflation slowly leaks it away. Now here's where things get uncomfortable. Why would a system be designed this way? Why not just keep money stable? Because modern economies run on movement. Spending, borrowing, investing, risk-taking, not hoarding. If money kept perfect value forever, many people would simply sit on it. Why invest if cash never decays? Why risk starting a business? Why lend? Inflation quietly pressures money to move. Economists even have a phrase for this: money must circulate. So inflation acts like a gentle tax on standing still, not officially called a tax, but functionally similar, because if your money doesn't grow, it shrinks. Now add another layer. Most money today is not printed as paper. It's created through debt. When banks issue loans, they create new money digitally. Mortgages, business loans, government bonds. New debt expands the money supply. More money chasing roughly the same goods tends to push prices up, not instantly, but steadily, which creates a strange irony. The system needs debt expansion to grow, but that same expansion weakens the value of existing money. Growth and dilution happening at the same time, like pouring water into soup to make more servings, while thinning the flavor. Now think about savers versus asset owners. If you hold cash, you fight inflation alone. But if you hold assets, stocks, real estate, businesses, inflation can actually help you. Because inflation often pushes asset prices upward. A house bought for $200,000 decades ago may now be worth $600,000. Did the house become 3 times better? Usually not. The currency just became weaker. Assets often float with inflation. Cash usually sinks beneath it. This creates a quiet divide between two groups, people paid in money and people paid in ownership. One group works for income, the other benefits from appreciation. And over long periods, the gap widens. Now here's another strange effect most people miss. Inflation doesn't hit everyone equally. If your income adjusts quickly, you might keep up. If it adjusts slowly, you fall behind. If you own appreciating assets, you may even benefit. If you only hold savings, you absorb the full impact. Same inflation number, different realities. This is why two people can live in the same economy but experience completely different financial worlds. And then there's the psychological trap. Humans think in absolute numbers, not purchasing power. If your salary rises from $50,000 to $55,000, it feels like progress. But if living costs rose 15% in the same time, you actually moved backward. Nominal gains, real losses. And most people never calculate the difference because the system speaks in dollar amounts, not in buying power. Now let's talk about the quiet expectation nobody mentions. Most financial systems assume you will invest, not just save. Saving alone used to work decades ago when interest rates were higher. A bank account might pay 5%, inflation might be 2%. Your money grew in real terms. Today, many savings accounts pay less than inflation, meaning doing the safe thing guarantees slow loss. This pushes people toward markets, whether they understand them or not, because standing still becomes riskier than moving. Which leads to another uncomfortable question. Is this financial design or financial pressure? And then there's the collision between reality and popular advice. You'll often hear, just save money, be responsible, avoid debt. All good advice individually, but incomplete. Because the real rule sounds more like this: save, then deploy. Cash is rarely the finish line anymore. It's the waiting room, a temporary parking spot before investing, buying assets, or starting something productive. Money today behaves less like storage and more like fuel. Useful when used, degrading when idle. Now zoom out even further. Governments also rely on mild inflation, because inflation reduces the real burden of debt. If a country owes $1 trillion and inflation reduces money value over time, that debt becomes easier to manage in real terms. Same number, smaller weight. This is one reason zero inflation is rarely the goal. Most central banks actually target around 2%, not too hot, not too cold, just enough erosion to keep the machine flexible. But this creates a strange tension. What stabilizes the system may destabilize individual savers. What helps manage national debt can slowly drain personal savings. Same policy, different consequences depending on where you stand. So what does this mean for someone trying to do everything right? It means discipline alone is not enough, because the rules changed. The old model was work, save, security. The newer model looks more like work, save, invest, adapt, repeat. More steps, more complexity, more responsibility placed on individuals to understand systems that used to be invisible. And maybe the strangest part of all, most people don't realize they're playing this new game. They just feel the symptoms: money stretching less, goals moving further away, effort staying the same. So here's the question that really matters. If money is guaranteed to lose slow value, if cash is no longer truly safe, and if everyone is quietly being pushed toward investing just to stand still, then what actually counts as financial safety anymore? Is it cash, assets, diversification, or something else entirely? Because maybe the real risk today is not losing money fast, it's losing it so slowly you never notice it happening.